guys, how's it going? It's Al. There are some rookies who are rising up ADP boards on fantasy football drafts because camp has started and we've finished the first week of preseason games. So all of a sudden, people are seeing these rookies that they were like, well, I don't know if I like this rookie, or aren't you worried about this other player that's on the roster already? And I'm not sure that this rookie's really going to play. And then the rookie gets on the field during preseason, and all of a sudden, it looks like they have the juice necessary to start for their team, or to overplay somebody, or to really be able to make an impact. So I'm going to go through 5 rookie risers that I've seen through training camp. A lot of buzz on these guys. Take a look at what their ADPs are, how much they've risen, and we have a free promo for you if you watch through the video that you can take advantage of on a specific site that is working with us here, partnered on the channel for the next few weeks. Limited time only for you to get this free promo, so stay tuned and let's go.
He's a legend.
I'm going to kick things off with Damien Pierce, running back on the Houston Texans. Now, look, they have Marlon Mack. He is right now instilled as their number 1. I was in Houston this week. Boots on the ground. Not literally. I know I was in Texas. I wasn't really wearing boots, but like there were many boots on the ground, mine included in theory. I went to this Houston Texans game. We had pretty nice seats, 45-yard line. I could see the whole field, the all 22. It was great. We weren't too low. We were the perfect, like right in the club level. I know that doesn't matter in terms of the analysis, but like people love telling me how much, I'm from Houston. And so here's my take on Damien Pierce. Well, I was in Houston. So here's my take on Damien Pierce. He looks different than any of the other running backs that are on this Texans team. He's just better. It's that simple. Josh Norris, Damien Pierce already looks like a discount Javonte Williams. Runs through contact, not at contact. Now, I cannot show you this video because of the copyright rules, but I can show you this video from camp because there's nothing wrong with showing you camp video. Dude has it. Right? Like you look at every single one of his plays, and he just has what you need when you look at it from an eyeball perspective. From an analytics perspective, who knows? Look, he's on a bad team, right? Houston is not going to be a good team. They're not going to do a whole lot when it comes to wins and losses. They're going to lose a lot of games this year. They're going to be playing from behind a lot. There is something that surfaced this morning on Twitter that said, look, Damien Pierce might take the starting job within the first month. He needs the starting job right now, unless it's like a pass pro thing, doesn't have a full grasp on the entire playbook. Like I get that from like a learning perspective, but he is the number 1 back in terms of talent on this Houston Texans team. Now, like I said before, they're not going to win a lot of games. What is the possible ceiling here? The possible ceiling here is what James Robinson did 2 years ago as a rookie. That's the ceiling, right? I'm not saying that's the expected outcome, but like 1,000 to 1,300 yards with 10 touchdowns. Yeah, that's the ceiling for a rookie running back on a bad team. We've seen it happen before. Right now, his ADP is like 111.7. So he's really jumped up into that range where we used to be getting like Ramondre Stevenson, Devin Singletary, all those guys who have now vacated that spot and moved up into like the 80s to 90s. Now Damien Pierce has filled that vacated space. If you wanted to go get him, you're going to have to pay. You're not getting him in the 130s to 150s, which is where we were drafting him in May and June. The price has come up, but it is what it is. George Pickens is another player who has flown up draft boards specifically since this weekend. If Pickens didn't get injured in college, he would have been one of the top graded running backs in this class. He does have a very good profile as a prospect profile. I don't love the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. Obviously, I think that they're going to be a run first team. I think that they're going to try and establish the hell of it. I can't see them throwing it 600 plus times, but Pickens does look like he has earned a starting role on this team. Deontay Johnson is going to be the primary guy. Yes, Najee Harris is going to get his 15% of the targets more than likely, but Pickens looks like he is ready to go at this point. Here's some video of him at camp catching a nice little post route into the end zone there. His ability to block, I know that this is not something we worry about when it comes to fantasy, but his ability to block and his willingness to be a great run blocker is something that's going to endear him to his coaching staff and get him on the field more often. So if he plays 80% of snaps, that's great for us. His ADP was like 180 to 185 30 days ago. It's 130 now. So if you want to get him, he's going around that place where Jarvis Landry goes, and I would probably prefer George Pickens in that spot to Jarvis Landry. One, because the pecking order, he could be second on this team in terms of target market share. That's A. And then B, I think that the ceiling for Pickens is a lot higher because, and maybe it's just because he's a rookie and we haven't seen it yet. So like when it's always the toy you haven't seen versus the one you have, right? Like we could pick Jarvis Landry, who's a boat, or we could pick George Pickens. It's like, you know what? George Pickens, like he could be anything. He could even be a boat. So like if he turns into a boat this season, we're going to make sure that we have him on our team. I'm fine drafting around run 30, but you're not getting the value that you were getting before. So you early drafters who were on the Pickens train in the last 30 days have a lot of value on you that you did not have. That promo that we were talking about, go down in the pinned comment down below. The top comment by me. Go to smizzle.tv/Rotowire. That'll get you a 2-day free trial to all of the great tools that they have over at rotowire.com. If you have your fantasy draft coming up, they have a ton of tools for you. This is an all-access pass for 2 days. So if your draft is coming up and you want to get all of their info that's in their draft kit, take it, download it, print it out, do everything that you need to do, and be more prepared for your fantasy draft. Also, you can take advantage of daily fantasy, whether it's golf or MLB on that trial, or all of their sports betting info if you're in a state that has legalized sports betting. In terms of this video, they also have great ADP stuff that's updated every day. I have it sorted by underdog right now, but they have pretty much everything. You can go by half PPR, standard, or full PPR to find out where players are going right now in your drafts. And I had just mentioned George Pickens. Here he is, the most updated info. He is now up to 130 with 2 arrows up. So he's flying. So you're probably not going to be able to get him at 130 by the time this video comes out. RomeoDubs, a favorite here on the Smizzle stream. Everybody loves him on the Smizzcast. The Smizz gang has been drafting him all summer long in like the 18th rounds. He has been somebody since we were made aware of his existence by Rich Rebar. Shout out to Lord Reeves on that one. I had no idea who this kid was. And I was like, well, let's look into him a little bit more. And it started to look pretty promising. As an 18th round flyer being drafted as your wide receiver 7 or wide receiver 8. Well, boy, are those days gone. His ADP currently is 140 as of this morning and rising pretty rapidly as every single day we're seeing video and hearing reports that RomeoDubs is the guy making the one big play, the wow moment every single day at practice. Now, Aaron Rodgers has a history of not throwing the ball to his rookie wide receivers. Everybody is referencing what happened with Devontae Adams. Jordy Nelson did not bust a grape his rookie season, but the wide receiver rooms that those two gentlemen were working with and against to get playing time and snaps were much tougher than the current wide receiver room that is operating for the Packers. So if Dubs is able to play a lot of snaps, and in the first preseason game, he did just that with the first team, which is what we are more trying to be in tune with through training camp and through preseason games. So if Dubs is going to be that guy that plays in the slot, that plays outside, that gets 80% of the snaps, he is more than likely going to pay this off. Right now, his ADP is up to 140. Again, selecting him in that range where people are taking Pickens, where people are taking Landry, where people are now taking Isaiah McKenzie. Dubs has massive upside playing for a quarterback that could realistically throw 30 to 40 touchdowns once again and challenge for 4,500 plus yards. Draft as you will. I would probably not spend one of my top wide receiver picks on him, but if you're drafting as a wide receiver 6 through 8, I'm more than fine with it. Brian Robinson Jr., another player that we were drafting in like the 200s. 18th round, 17th round flyers, your running back 5 or your running back 6. Well, times have kind of changed here. Antonio Gibson's stock is plummeting. Like he's the coyote and he ran off the cliff and he's holding a sign that says, "Help me." They have Antonio Gibson on the punt coverage team now. You don't do that with your RB1. We have Coach Rivera.
Running back job.
There's always been a competition.
Well, guess what's going to happen to Brian Robinson Jr.? Brian Robinson Jr.'s ADP is up from like a last round flyer. Antonio Gibson has historically had fumbling problems. He fumbled in the preseason, the first game, and like Riverboat Ron is done with it. He's just completely over. He's like, go tackle people on punt coverage. Get out of here. I'm done. I'm done with you. And we're going to give this rookie a little bit of time and see if he can do it. Robinson Jr. was somebody that I was drafting earlier in the summer as an RB5, RB6, sometimes on 0 RB teams, and sometimes to just fill out my running room with a guy that had a chance in case of an injury to move up. Well, now it may not take that injury for him to get that 40% of the run that we might want and possibly take over the starting job. His ADP has skyrocketed up 31 spots in the last like 5 days to 160. You're still drafting him as an RB4 through RB6. But the more bad news that keeps coming up about Antonio Gibson is going to tank his ADP and just helium watch on Brian Robinson Jr. And my final player on this list is Isaiah Pacheco. Everybody's darling is every single year whoever the running back is in Kansas City. Like, we have these delusions that the running back in Kansas City is going to be this high value guy because of what it used to be in Andy Reid's offenses, where like his RB1 would be like this number one guy. But that just has not really materialized since Kareem Hunt was traded. Like, since he left, that has just not materialized. We chased it with CEH when he had like an ADP of 7 or 8 as a rookie. That didn't materialize. And now people are chasing it again with Pacheco. I don't hate the Pacheco. You know, who else was the other? Darwin Thompson was the other guy that we were chasing. Darwin Thompson, you know, he could be the Chiefs' #1 running back. And, you know, Andy Reid has a history with his RB1s. I'm not saying Pacheco is without value, but I liked his value before when he was an 18th round flyer. He is no longer that. The biggest rookie riser of the last week, up 53 spots to an ADP of 162, and continues to fly up draft boards. As we can see here on this video, let's turn the volume off. He wears number 10. It's going to be weird to see a running back wearing number 10. Good size and speed combination. He can catch the ball, and he provides something that maybe CEH hasn't been able to provide through his first couple of years in the league to this Chiefs offense. Right now, he seems to be operating as the RB2. He was the second running back onto the field, ahead of Ronald Jones, ahead of Jet McKinnon, and behind CEH. And if he's going to be the RB2, that puts him in that 40% role that we want, where any sort of ding or knock or fumble or mishap from CEH puts him into that RB1 possibility. If you're drafting him as that is already a spot where you're drafting into value in a very explosive offense. So hopefully this video helped you. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Look out for another one right there.
He's a legend.